Welcome back to GMP Scenario, presented by PharmaContentLabs.com.
Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going to talk about a problem-solving mistake that is so incredibly common, most of us don't even see it as a mistake. It's called the retraining fallacy, and we're going to break down how to spot it before it costs you.
Okay, just picture this. A mistake happens at work, and then, a little while later, it happens again. Your team gets together to figure it out. What's that first kind of obvious fix that always seems to come up?
Well, we call this the retraining trap. It's that easy, intuitive answer that just feels right. But you know what? It often masks a much, much deeper problem. So let's walk through a classic scenario to see what I mean. It always starts with something small, right? Like an operator on a production line misses a key quality check. Seems like a simple human error. And then another related issue pops up. Maybe the paperwork for that step gets delayed or filed wrong. It's another little thing, but it's connected. And pretty soon you realize, this isn't a one-off thing. It's actually a pattern of errors, and they're all circling around the exact same process. Now the pressure's on to find a fix, and fast. And there it is, the solution that sounds perfectly logical, the one everyone agrees on. The operator made the mistake, so obviously they just need to be retrained on the correct procedure, right? Problem solved.
But is it, really? Is just retraining that one person an actual effective fix? Or could it be a sign of a really serious weakness in how you solve problems? Well, in regulated industries, the answer is pretty clear.
So let's really break down why this easy answer is so often the wrong one. Because relying only on training comes with these hidden costs that can lead to way bigger failures down the road. You know, in the world of quality management, they actually have a term for this, a CAPA weakness. CAPA stands for corrective and preventative action. And basically, any solution that doesn't put real system controls in place to stop the problem from happening again is considered weak. It's just not an acceptable fix.
I love this quote because it says it all. A signature on a training sheet is not prevention. Getting someone to sign a piece of paper proves they showed up to a meeting. That's it. It does not prove the problem is solved, and it definitely doesn't mean the risk is gone.
So this really breaks it down into two different mindsets. A training-focused approach, it blames the person and gives you a fix that fades over time. But a system-focused approach, that looks deeper. It assumes a good person was just put into a bad system, and that the real solution is to correct the process itself. That's how you create permanent change. And believe me, the consequences of a weak fix are very, very real. The stuff you learn in a one-off training session, that fades. The errors, they're almost guaranteed to happen again. And if you're in an industry that gets audited, retraining only is literally the first thing inspectors look for because they know it's a giant red flag for a weak system. Okay, so if retraining isn't the answer, what is? Let's get into the good stuff. We're going to move on to the three-step fix and see how to build a solution that's actually robust.
A really strong corrective action has three parts. First, you have to really prove that a lack of knowledge was the actual root cause, not just an easy person to blame. Second, and this is the most important part, you have to add systemic controls. And third, you need to define exactly how you're going to measure if your fix even worked. So what in the world are these systemic controls we keep talking about? Well, simply put, they're changes you make to the process or the system that make it really hard or maybe even impossible for that error to happen again. Here are a few great examples. You can have a checklist gate that literally won't let you move to the next step until a critical check is done, or an automated system prompt that pops up and reminds the operator of a key detail at the exact moment they need it. Or, and this is a good one, building in a step where a second person has to independently verify the work. See? These are system fixes, not people fixes. All right, so it's not enough to just put a fix in place. You have to be able to prove that it works. This isn't just, good practice. It's exactly what auditors and inspectors are going to demand to see. And here's that classic mistake again. The training is done, the sign-in sheet gets filed, and someone closes the case. An inspector sees that and immediately knows your process is weak because you haven't actually proven that anything has changed. So what does good documentation look like? Well, you need a clear reason for why you chose your solution. You need actual evidence of the new systemic controls you put in place. And, crucially, you need data. You got to show the results of your effectiveness checks, track the recurrence rate of that error,
Is it 0 now? And what about your right first time performance? Is that number going up? That's the proof.
And this really brings us to the big takeaway here. This whole idea isn't just about manufacturing or quality control. It's a fundamental lesson for any team, in any field, that's trying to solve problems for good.
Look, when an error happens, our first instinct might be to find out who to blame. But the most effective leaders and problem solvers, they fight that instinct. Instead, they ask, what in the system let this happen? They fix the process, not just the person. That is how you create real, lasting improvement. So that leaves us with a final thought to take with you. Think about your own work, your own teams, maybe even your own life. Where are you falling back on that retraining fallacy? Where are you blaming individuals when you probably should be asking the tougher, but much more important question? How can we fix the system?
Thank you for watching. If this helped, like and subscribe. More GMP scenarios coming.